Right, grade 12s, what we're now going to do is we're going to start statistics. But before we get into the grade 12 statistics, what I want to do is revise the concepts from previous years. And we're going to be focusing in this lesson on standard deviation. Then we'll go on to box and whisker plots, very, very important, from earlier years, grade 10 if you remember. And we'll look at mean as well, mean and standard deviation, which we're doing here. We're going to then also look at your cumulative frequency curves and outliers. And then we're in a position to go and explore the grade 12 statistics. So let's take time to do a bit of revision. Here we go. Here's standard deviation. The maximum daily temperatures for Pretoria for the first 10 days in June are recorded in the table. So here we got there's 10 of them. For the first 10 days, 18 degrees Celsius, 17 degrees Celsius, so we go on. And what we want to do is calculate the mean and the standard deviation using a table and a calculator. So if you go back and revise, remember, how did we get the mean? Well, the mean, very simply put, the mean is actually the sum of all of those scores divided by n. Now, if you add up all of these, let me see, let's go to calculator and add them up. So let's get a little fraction button here. So I'm going to do it quickly. We're going to see it's 18 plus the 17. I'm just going to add them all up, plus 24 plus 28, we're adding them up, 27 plus 20 plus 23 plus 25 plus 22 plus 25, and then we divide that by the number of scores, which is 10. We get 229 over 10, which is 22,9. Okay, so that is your mean, 22,9. Okay, great. So the mean sorted. Now the standard deviation, we're going to start off by using a table. And what we do is, remember, your mean is 22,9. Now remember, by using a table, we start off by working out x minus x bar, which is really the score. If you take this one, it's 17. The score, subtract the mean. Okay, and that gives you minus 5,9, if you remember that. So this is the score, or the temperature, subtract the mean. We're looking at deviations from the mean here. Over here we talk of squared deviations from the mean. So what we're going to do is, we'll come to this in a moment. Now we take 18 and we subtract the mean. And what does that give us? Negative 4,9. And so you go on. We're going to get 20 minus 22,9, and that gives us minus 2,9. And so you go 22 minus the mean, gives you minus 0,9. Then you've got 0,1. 23 minus 22,9 gives you 0,1. And so we go on. 24 minus 22,9 is 1,1. And then we get 2,1 and 2,1 again. 27 minus 22,9 is 4,1, and then we've got 5,1 at the bottom there. Okay, now remember, there's actually 10 scores here that we're dealing with. Okay, now if you remember from earlier years, from grade 11, if you simply add up these guys in the left column, the answer comes to 0, which we don't want. It's not of any help at all. So remember, what did we do? We squared all these answers. So minus 5,9 squared, if you work that out, look here, if you go negative 5.9 and you square it, you're going to get 34,81. So we squared them. So we go 34,81. Okay, now if you square minus 4,9, you get 24,01. Square negative 2,9, you're going to get 8,41. And as you continue squaring, you get all these squared, they call them the square deviations from the mean. Okay, so it's 0,01, 1,21, 4,41, 4,41, those are exactly the same. And then we've got here 16,81 if you square 4,1, and 5,1 squared is 26,01. And then if you remember, what did we then do is we worked out the sum of all of these guys, the sum of all of these square deviations, and it comes to 120,9. 9. If you simply, I'm not going to do it, but if you say 34,81 plus 24,0 and you add them all up, you're going to get then 120,9. Okay, now what we do is we start off, if you remember from earlier years, we looked at the variance. Okay, now the variance is actually the standard deviation squared, which is really the sum of all those squared numbers divided by the number of scores. So the standard deviation squared would be 120,9 over 10, and that is the variance. So the variance is 120,9 divided by 10, which is 12,09. Okay, but remember the standard deviation would be the square root of 12,09. Okay, and if you look at that, that comes to 3,5. So there's your standard deviation rounded off to 1 decimal place. Okay, so that's using a table. Alright, now if we use a calculator, I'm going to bring up the calculator here and I'm going to show you exactly how to deal with this if you use a calculator. Now, what we do is we're going to, if you take the scores, if we look at a calculator, and what you simply do, let's write the scores down. I'm going to put them from smallest to biggest. So we've got 17, 18, 20, 22, 23, 24, 25, 25, and then 27 and 28. There's 10 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, when you work out the standard deviation of these scores using a calculator, it's very, very simple. Now, follow me. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the calculator. Now, watch this. Okay, the first thing you do is you push the button mode. Okay, so you're going to push the button mode. Alright, then you go and you see that says there 2 for statistics, so you press 2. Then it brings up a whole lot of things over here, and you push 1 for variance. Now look at this, you've got a little column here, and in this column you're going to enter all the little temperatures. So here we go 17 equals 18 equals, you enter them in, 20 equals 22 equals 23 equals 24 equals 25 equals 25 equals 27 equals and 28 equals. Okay, so you enter the 10 scores, then you cancel. Okay, and then you push shift and you go down to that stat button there, stat. Now look at that, and you push 4 for variance. And then the button we use is that number 3, not number 4. It's always going to be number 3. And that gives you the standard deviation. If you now push equals, it gives you 3,47706,773. Rounded off to 1 decimal place will give you 3,5. Okay, so that's very, very important again. So if we just look at it again, and by the way, if you want to get back to normal, you go mode 1. Okay, now you're back to normal. So let's do it again. So it's mode 2, okay, 1 for variance. Then you enter the scores. Let's do them again. 17 equals 18 equals 20 equals 22 equals 23 equals 24 equals 25 equals 25 equals 27 equals 28 equals, then you cancel, you go shift down to stat, push 4 for variance and 3, and you'll get your standard deviation there.